Travis Wayne Goodsall. Where are my subscribers? Where are my viewers, my followers? We are on a countdown to Armageddon, and everybody's running and hiding. This is the one time you need to be listening and paying attention. This is no time for illiteracy. I saw a person, a Mormon, come to my academia page and told me to stay focused, that Jesus is the Christ, the eternal God. Mormons, you're not Christian. Jesus is not your Christ. Or Joseph Smith is not your founder. It's not complicated. You just have to read and comprehend what you read. We're not Christian. Joseph Smith's first vision. I know it's confusing because it says at the beginning that it's in relation to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Have you bothered to study the Joseph Smith papers? The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints keeps telling us that our founder, Joseph Smith, is always wrong and that they've had to correct him and fill in the blanks that he leaves blank. They keep making changes to Joseph Smith. Willard Richards is the one responsible for putting Jesus Christ. Joseph Smith didn't have Jesus Christ. We're able to see original documents to know what Joseph Smith had originally put. We know of the true origins of Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon, because he says, as the Book of Mormon says, it's the learning of the Jews. And so our Christ is not Jesus, the eternal God. You've been exposed by the church of being brainwashed into becoming illiterate. And so, our Christ is Amen, the Egyptian sun god at noonday. It is not Jesus, created by Roman Emperor Constantine. Verse 19, first vision. That first creed of Christianity that created Jesus is an abomination. We have Google search now. There is no excuse for any of you, and yet I've lost my younger audience. They're the ones in greatest jeopardy, because those of us, we're about to die. But it's the younger generations that the church has been focused on. Oaks, remember? If he's got your children and grandchildren, because that's apparently the audience I have, is that how you want to go out dying? Is knowing that the church has kept your children and grandchildren prisoners, to all the abominations they are planning for their kingdom? Did you not catch on when the church says that Jesus is coming to overthrow the governments and establish his kingdom? That there might be something wrong with that? Did you not catch on that there were other branch-offs after Joseph Smith was assassinated? That nobody followed Section 107, verse 22? 3 presidents. Not the leader of the Quorum of the 12. They're voted by the whole Melchizedek priesthood. 3 presidents. The Quorum of 70, 7 presidents. You couldn't understand what you read from that? Because why? Oh, the church does it differently? They don't follow the Word of God. Have you not heard of what a false prophet is? Anybody who preaches against the Book of Mormon, which is the keystone of Mormonism, is a false prophet. All of my videos, all these years, use the Book of Mormon and the words of Joseph Smith on Mormons. I have confounded each and every single Mormon who attacks me, who were weaponized by this church, with the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith's words. You think you're smarter than me, and I simply pull out a quote from the Book of Mormon or from Joseph Smith, and boom, you're gone. You're hiding in shame when you should be standing up and leaving the church. This is the countdown to Armageddon. That's what the scriptures are warning you of. Joseph Smith warned you. You need to know your Christ so that you can hearken to him to get out of the great and abominable church. And yet you're running and hiding? The answers are blatant and in your face, and you're running and hiding? The scriptures were anti-polygamy. The church in my day denied that we practiced it. Yet there is that official declaration number 1. And so we all knew that it was coming back for the millennium. Joseph Smith had a whole chapter against polygamy in the Doctrine and Covenants. Where'd it go? Who removed it? Brigham Young had his scriptures, Joseph Smith's scriptures, changed, removed, replaced. And you can't make the connection to the great and abominable church, that what they did to the Bible? From the Jews, which means the New Testament is from the Jews? The Joseph Smith visionary account. Joseph was wrong about the church, so he had to correct him. It's the name of Jesus Christ in it, by Willard Richards, the one who shot him in the back in Carthage jail, using forensic investigation of the crime scene. Joseph Smith forgets the name of who visits him in the grove. Interestingly, that the bicentennial is 2020, when the Exodus was to occur, and Mormons missed it because they didn't know their Christ and didn't hearken to him. He parted the waters for you to pass through on dry ground. Creeping death came. The 3 days of darkness were going on. And you missed it? That's utter humiliation. And you're running and hiding? Then Joseph Smith somehow gets the name wrong of the second messenger? So we have to correct him? Joseph Smith gets gold plates wrong? It's golden? So we have to correct him? Joseph Smith gets our Christ wrong? Says it's the learning of the Jews? Gives us the passage from Isaiah and Acts? So we have to correct him? It's Jesus, the eternal God? You're not thinking about this? Why is the church always telling us that Joseph is wrong? You'd think that Joseph fell and needed to be replaced. The Book of Mormon? It's not the learning of the Jews, so we have to correct it? It's another testament of Jesus Christ? Did you know there are forged documents? Do you know how to identify them? It kind of helps if you know that we're not Christian and Jesus is not our Christ. That's one of the biggest tip-offs. Why do you think Mark Hoffman forged documents for the church? Deceiving them back. The Salamander letter? That was actually brilliant to expose the church prophets. But he resorted to violence to cover it up. Just like the church does. The church are murdering you. They're taking your money. They're a criminal organization. The SEC got them busted. The whistleblower is exposing tithing as a complete financial crime. And you're in denial? And you're hiding in shame? The SEC busts the church. 60 Minutes busts the church. The Associated Press busts the church. The Times busts the church. You getting the point here? None of the local papers bust the church. The government doesn't bust the church. No duh, because the church owns the state of Utah. They're controlling the information. And you don't see that as wrong? The rituals. Oh, Joseph Smith didn't have them right, so we got to add magic underwear. Got to add an endowment ceremony with loyalty oaths to the church. Death penalties for disobedience. Polygamy. Sex trafficking. Child bride marriages. And again, forged documents. Oh yeah, Joseph Smith, he was a polygamist. See, we have the documents. Oh, but wait, Brigham Young had a wife. A Native American Indian wife. That was a secret. No. If there's no sealing, not a wife. He kidnapped her and raped her. Brigham Young, the first president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, raped women. And you can't catch on to this? You want to emulate him? You want to be a rapist too? Of children? That's what you're getting out of all this? You're doing exactly what the Danites of Brigham Young accused Joseph Smith of doing so that they could do it. You are supporting Brigham and his Danites because you want to do it. And you think you can continue the lie as you continually get exposed? Do you not understand why membership numbers are dropping, while conversions are dropping, why the news is exposing you? Do you not think that other people are listening? The world is watching CNN. Or not CNN, 60 Minutes. And so now missionaries who knock on those doors, oh, you're the criminal organization. And there you are as a missionary involved in the church's pyramid scheme. Oh, it's a multi-level marketing scheme? What are you doing? You paid to go on your mission. You are recruiting others to pay the church. That's a pyramid scheme. By definition. Do you not understand why the government won't arrest the church for a pyramid scheme? They're illegal in Utah. And yet, there's doTERRA, USANA, and others that are pyramid schemes because of the church. Mormons are following the example of the church. And you can't catch on to this? We're in a countdown to Armageddon, where the church is plotting to get their kingdom back. And you want this? And you haven't read from your Book of Mormon about the great and abominable church and that wickedness is never happiness? That it leads to destruction? You claim the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith, but you don't believe them. You can't catch on to this? You think you can gaslight me? And tell me Jesus is the Christ, the eternal God? Don't forget. Don't lose focus. Bleep you. I was Mormon, born and raised. I trusted Joseph and the Book of Mormon. I followed the pattern to learn knowledge. And no, it's not misinterpreting Moroni 10, 3-5. I put it in the context of Alma chapter 32, starting in verse 28. Section 116, I'm then able to find out is a forged document. I find out the plot. I know the plot to overthrow the government. This isn't real. How are you so easily deceived? You first put Joseph first. anybody who goes against Joseph is wrong. Oh, but Benson, as an apostle, came out at BYU and talked about the 17 fundamentals or whatever of a living prophet. And said that we ignore Joseph now. He's dead. And Jesus? We ignore him too? You're not thinking. The Council of 50 was part of the Danites. They were going to be the anti-government while Joseph was running for president. The 1844 documents in the Joseph Smith papers reveals the fraud. I did the video recently. Both Brigham Young and Emma Smith received letters from Joseph Smith, supposedly. Why are they in different handwriting? Because one of them's a forgery. Brigham Young's letter says, Brigham Young, stop campaigning for me for president. Come back and we're going to war. Emma Smith, I love you. Oh, by the way, Heber C. Kimball, I gave him $1,000. Make sure that goes to the right place. Yeah. The signatures, the linguistic analysis, not the same person. How could you have been so fooled, Mormons? All you had to do was study. I couldn't study like you can study, and you're not even watching me. You have fallen. You are hiding in shame because you've fallen, rather than standing up and focusing your anger on the church. Get over yourself and focus your anger on the church. Quit attacking me and focus your anger on the church. You know, I'd tell the church you want your tithing back. That they're a criminal organization and they need to give it all back. But you're not listening to me, are you? I can't rally a protest to get your tithing back, can I? James Huntsman, but where were the rest of you?